Hello, Internet, and welcome to, let's say, this is week 6, but this is going up in the gap a little bit delayed. MBL, Multi-Battle League versus Team Dreamball Team Builder. So, hello, Aaron. Hello, Cybertron.
Hello, hello.
We are, well, we've basically got this team. Here we go. This is what we're going to be playing against, and it's a very solid team, and it's piloted by the current world champion and current third place in the world. So this is going to be an interesting game.
Yep, definitely. If you guys remember, we played them in the finals last season. We actually played them in the first round last season as well, and they were both really intense games. So yeah, if you look at the VGC resumes of the 4 players in this, it is crazy stacked. So expecting a really good match, and hopefully we can deliver on our end.
Yeah, there must be I don't know, 6, 7 world top cuts between us.
Yeah. Yep.
Quite a lot. So yeah, and we are 1-1. Record against Dreamball. So we beat them week 1. They beat us in the final. So maybe this is the grudge match to end it all.
Yeah, we are looking for revenge because I think if we do get to 6 wins, whoever does gets into playoffs. So we've still got a couple of weeks, but obviously we'd love to secure it up earlier than later.
Yeah. So the winner of this game is basically guaranteed top 6. I think that's how it works.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, we're obviously both teams are going to want to win this. And I think this is I can just imagine everyone sort of listening to me now, sort of looking at their watches, sort of thinking, oh, how long are they going to be going on? Because I think this is going to be a really difficult team builder. I actually think that we can put a case forward for every one of our Pokemon in this game.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. I think I want to start off by just sort of saying what I expect from them in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I expect them to go with Finny, Heatran, Zapdos, Zygarde, and Scrafty. Those 5
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Their last one, I don't know, before studying their team builder, I was thinking they're probably going to bring Tangela against us, but looking at it, I'm not sure they will now, just because they have got other ways to deal with Azumarill and stuff too. I think their last one is going to be one of their Trick Room setters. It's either going to be Bronzong, I think, or Dino. And I think, even though they've got plenty of things for our Mega Aerodactyl, I think it might still be Bronzong just because they can Mental Herb it, and I think actually they'll go Heat Proof as well, so they can ground it and put it immune to Spore as well. I don't know if they'll bring the Drifloon on. I don't think they will, but it is something that we do need to respect. They could obviously lead with that with its Unburden and Tailwind on us. But I do think the first 6 are the ones that are going to be they're going to be bringing. I also think they're going to be expecting lots of setup from us, and they're probably, I'm going to say, they're almost guaranteed to have Haze on their Tapu Fini. So I'm not sure how much of this game we want to sort of think about setting up and putting everything into a belly drum, that sort of thing, because I'm sure this Tapu Fini is going to have Haze. If they do bring the Drifblim, we're going to have Clear Smog as well to get rid of stats. But that's what I expect. So maybe if we can sort of focus on the first 6, that might be a start at least.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think for me, the one question I was really thinking about was whether Tangela is going to come out, because similar to you, I think the first 5 you mentioned, they definitely bring, and then it's a toss-up between Tangela and then one of their Bronzong or Drifloon. And the other thing, I think Zygarde is probably the Pokemon I'm most scared of, just because it hits everything really hard, and it can one-shot the Raichu. It just has pretty solid defenses overall, so I think the whole team is scary, but Zygarde especially as an offensive threat. And then I know they've used the Rock Z move I think on Scrafty and the Grass Z move on Heatran, so those are things that we might want to anticipate as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, as a result, setting up, especially getting Belly Drum up with the Azumarill, you'd imagine it looks so great in this matchup, but doing that might be a little bit difficult because I think they actually ran Poison Z on Zygarde as well before, so clearly they're going to have answers to it as well as the Haze, and so have to keep all of those in mind.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do think they're going to bring the first 5 there. I don't know. I mean, I suppose Zapdos is the only one that I'm thinking maybe they might sort of think twice about, just because we have got Raichu, we've got Mega Aerodactyl and stuff like that. But I mean, we have got 2 water types that do a lot against their team as well. So I think they kind of have to bring this out. And the reason why I'm thinking they maybe won't bring the Tangler or the Drifloon is just because they always like to have a Trick Room option. They always like to have their options and be able to go fast or slow, I suppose. And it's bound to be either Ordino or Bronzong. So I'm gonna put some eggs in a basket, and I'm gonna say it's the top 6. But obviously we do have to respect the others. I mean, the Tangler, we do have to respect that as well, really, just because they could, Rage Powder, Dragon Dance with Zygarde, and if we're not prepared for that, that can just sweep through the team too. So
exactly,
there are lots of things that we do need to prepare for here. I mean, the Absol, I don't think is going to get a look in, really.
Yeah, no way.
So, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and there's some Pokemon that I like for us to take, and there's some that I thought sort of maybe not so much. But I mean, everything really has got something that they can do in this matchup. The Pokemon that I probably thought we might want least was actually Nidoqueen, but since I came back to it and had a look at it again, I'm thinking actually Nidoqueen could do some nice work. I don't know, the Purloin, we've not really used that much. I think that could be nice because it has got a faster fake out than Scrafty. If they do lead with something like the Drifloon, we can taunt it. We can taunt potentially Encore, Bronzong, things like that as well. Into Tailwinds, we can taunt a Tangler, all that kind of stuff. It does give us some control, but I'm not convinced on Purloin here, although it can do lots of things. The Regigigas can Wide Guard. They have got a decent amount of spread moves: Muddy Water, Heat Wave, Thousand Arrows. But maybe it's not that brilliant just because they're going to be sort of cycling Intimidates with Scrafty as well. Yes. So maybe Purloin and Regigigas are the ones I'm looking at least. But I was actually looking at Bruxish earlier, and this might be the week that we do something with Bruxish, just because it has got really nice coverage against a lot of their team. It can have water attacks, it can have ice attacks, it can have crunch for Bronzong. Psychic Fangs doesn't really hit too much here. I suppose it does get Poison Fang too, although I suppose it won't still do too much damage to Tapu Fini. Yeah. But it can Swords Dance, it can bulk up as well. I was actually thinking earlier maybe like an Assault Vest. Bruxish could work, but at the same time, most of those things I've just said about Bruxish kind of applies to Azumarill as well, with fairy attacks and maybe knock off, maybe waterfall too. So maybe we could go with an Assault Vest there too. But definitely at least one, maybe two, but at least one of Bruxish or Azumarill here.
Yes. I agree with all of that. When I was thinking about it, I was like, probably the bottom row, we drop. I think Bruxish actually, we could make some use of, but Azumarill also seems solid here. I mean, we can make a choice between one of those two. I think we probably want one, not both. So yeah, we'll consider that. And then Nidoqueen is interesting because it's it is really bad against some of the stuff, but it's also really good because with its damage output is actually super high because we have so many super effective attacks like Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Sludge Bomb. And so I don't know, Nidoqueen could still be worth ringing, but obviously the Zygarde is the thing I was most scared of, just because it could Thousand Arrows. But I was looking at Calx, and I don't think Thousand Arrows can one-shot us, and so I don't know. Nidoqueen should get an attack off unless it's against the Scrafty or maybe the Bronzong. It can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Nidoqueen is it's always the same. Is it actually threatens quite a lot of things, but it's threatened by a lot itself as well.
Yes.
Yeah, the Muddy Water, Earth Power, Thousand Arrows. Yeah, that's about it really. But yeah, so yeah. I mean, it's maybe we could Assault Vest the Nidoqueen. I mean,
that's interesting.
Looking at some calculations, that might be. I mean, if we can get Muddy Water to be a 3-hit KO, then that might be worth looking at, perhaps. But I mean, again, just one Dragon Dance with Zygarde, and it's instantly threatened. So
yes,
we obviously need to bear this Zygarde in mind because, when we were drafting the Pokemon and they picked Zygarde, we was oh yeah, that's a nice pick. It's a nice, colourful Pokemon, and now I've actually seen it over the weeks how bulky it is and how good they support it and how it can just sweep through teams. It is actually a little bit scary.
Yes, I completely agree. One thing I thought they might actually really want to lead with is just Scrafty Zygarde. Obviously they have a ton of combinations, but Scrafty Zygarde seems like a pretty solid option for them.
Yeah, I don't think they will lead with Scrafty because we have got faster fake outs. I think they're gonna just pull the whole trick of like switching Scrafty in turn 2 sort of thing if they're gonna bring it. So I don't know if they'll lead with Zygarde either. Actually, I mean, do we really know what they're going to lead with? I mean, another thing is really we don't have any control over the terrain here either. So Brillium Spore is almost useless.
Ah, that's a good point, yeah.
I mean, I really do think they will heat-proof their Bronzong, just because we don't really have any ground attacks, and it would shield it with the misty terrain, so we would only really be able to spore Zapdos either. So, like, I feel like with our team, we've got sort of setup options with, like, maybe Swords Dance or Bulk Up, whatever on Bruxish, maybe Swords Dance or Substitute or something on Breloom instead of Spore. But yeah, they're gonna have haze. They're gonna have all sorts of. I mean, maybe even raw things to sort of stop our setup. So I don't know. It's just deciding how much of setup we want and how much of sort of support we want too, I guess.
Right. I mean, I guess one thing I was thinking about was like what you might have thought would be solid leads against anything they could bring.
No, it's tricky, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, like, I think the one Pokemon, I mean, we've been saying about Zygarde, I think the one Pokemon that's going to give us the most problems is probably the Scrafty, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I really don't like that they can just cycle Intimidate and Fake Out and do all the stuff that Scrafty does do.
Yes.
Because our team is fairly physically based, really. I mean, we've got Volcarona and Nidoqueen. They're I suppose, and Raichu. They're the only real sort of special attackers. I suppose Jirachi could be a special attacker if you wanted it to be, but actually, sort of going back to what I was saying earlier about Purloin, Regigigas, maybe I was putting to the side. I was thinking maybe Jirachi isn't actually that useful here either, just because it is threatened so much by fire, by ground, by dark, by ghost as well. I mean, it is bulky enough to support us with Follow Me and all that kind of stuff, but it is threatened by a lot of things too, so I don't know how useful it's going to be.
Yeah, so my initial impression was like, oh, we probably just like don't want Jirachi at all, but then I was like looking at some cute things we can do with it. Like one really random thing, I was just like thinking of ways we could one-shot Zygarde, and Icy Wind with the Z move actually one-shot Zygarde even if it's max HP.
That is interesting.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, like, Wolf and Marcus, like, they're the kind of team where there's no way I feel like they would stay in. But I don't know. It's like that's such a specific attack. I feel like if, for example, like this is just a very specific scenario. But I was like, if we let Raichu, Jirachi, and they did lead with like Scrafty, Zygarde, it'd be very tempting for them to just stay in with Zygarde because Zygarde's in such a good position. So we could potentially like bait out and get a one-hit knockout. But like the chances of that happening are obviously pretty slim. But Jirachi does get like Play Rough and Dazzling Gleam as well, which do a lot of damage. They don't knock out Scrafty, but they do at least half over to it.
Yeah, I mean that's nice if they do lead with those two, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's otherwise it's like useless against everything else.
I mean Raichu does cover the Finny as well if they did lead with that.
Yes.
It kind of protects us against Zapdos too if they led with that. If we did lead with Jirachi and Raichu, I guess Heatran would be like Heatran, Bronzong, and if they went Trick Room, that sort of thing. Maybe if they did bring Drifblim, that could give us some problems too. But I mean, what do you think the chances are that they will bring Drifblim?
Pretty slim, I feel like.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like because it's super weak to, our Raichu. Burning, I guess Burning is okay for them, but like, I don't know. I think like Drifblim, I'd rather see them bring Drifblim than like Bronzong.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't think they'll bring it just because our team is faster than theirs, and that means they're not going to win the Tailwind War. We're still going to be faster, really.
Yes.
So, like the most annoying thing it could really do is like burn our Aerodactyl, I guess. That kind of thing. So yes. I don't think they will bring that. So maybe like are we at the point where we're thinking let's just prepare for these top 6 Pokemon and just disregard Drifblim? Maybe not disregard Tangela so much, but disregard Absol, Ordino, and Drifblim.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even if like they do bring Drifblim, I don't know. I feel like our team matches up decently with Raichu and Aerodactyl, so I'm not too afraid of that, even if we don't fully prep for it specifically.
Yeah. So I'll pop these Pokemon down here. Okay, so I mean, they could go Trick Room mode, and something like Eruption Heatran would just, just flatten our team in Trick Room. So maybe when it comes to Azumarill or Bruxish, maybe as much as I do want Bruxish to actually do something, Azumarill would give us that bit of a check, I suppose, to Heatran in the in Trick Room.
Yes.
Because I do feel like if they want Trick Room, they're going to get into a position where they get Trick Room. Because they're going to have Misty Terrain. It's probably going to have Heat Proof. It's possibly going to have a Mental Herb. Or maybe the Z Psychic. So we can't taunt to that either.
Right.
So they're going to get their Trick Room eventually. So I guess we do need some kind of contingency plan if they do get it up. And I guess Azumarill is our go-to sort of Trick Room check in a way.
Yeah.
So I guess we're kind of forced to bring the Azumarill then.
Yeah, seems like it.
I mean, Breloom, I think, well, if we definitely need at least one of Raichu and Breloom for the Finny. Both of them could work, but I mean, it's just the Spore is really almost useless with Breloom. I mean, we would literally only be able to safely Spore the Zapdos, really.
Yeah.
So, and, Zapdos is faster, and, I mean, a lot of their team is, well, the first four, anyway, are naturally faster than Breloom and could potentially be EV to outspeed it.
Yeah.
So, Breloom is not looking too great here, but, I mean, it is always such a good Pokemon. And, maybe if we did get a surprise Swords Dance, then, I wonder how much, like, a +1 Mach Punch would do to, like, a Heatran, or a +1 Bullet Seed would do to Finny. I mean, it would be a decent chunk.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, I think specifically because they have the Finny this week, like, we can't guarantee Spores off, so Breloom, I don't know, it's like more dead weight than it would be in other matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Breloom, but yeah, it's definitely not as good this week as it would be in other weeks. It's just that it is like really literally our only 1,000 arrows resist.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, that's the only reason why I was like, oh, maybe I do want it.
Yeah, and without like if we didn't have it, just relying on Raichu to take care of Tapu Fini is a little bit risky too, unless we put like Bloom Doom on Volcarona or something.
Right.
But that's a little bit odd too, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the Heatran, we don't really have too much that can hit that too hard, apart from obviously the Earth Power. Mach Punches never really do too much to it. Azumarill can hit it hard too, but I don't know. Like, I'm really interested to see how this game goes, really, because really they could come out with, they could go with Drifblim and like Tailwind and Sunny Day or whatever, and with Scarf Heatran or something. They could do whatever. So there's so many options, so many ways that this game can go. I'm looking forward to watching it.
yeah. Like it's gonna be really fun, I think. But prepping for this, like their team comp specifically, you can run in so many different ways, and so like, I don't know. Like we have to come up with something that's like consistent, but also hope that they don't come up with something that's like crazy that we just completely miss. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of sneakily like this sort of Sub-Zero Slammer idea on Jirachi, just because something like how how Jamie beat him with the surprise.
Yes.
What was it called? Final Gambit, turn 1.
Yes.
Just something that can take like a vital part of their team away, can just unravel it really, because it reduces their switching options, and that's exactly what a slow bulky team like this does. It switches.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just to take a piece away would be good. I don't think Jirachi gets Final Gambit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Otherwise, that'd be nice.
But yeah, just something surprising like that. And I don't know. I mean, the Sub-Zero Slam would still do a decent chunk to Zapdos, and Icy Wind does have utility otherwise as well.
Yes.
So I can sort of roll with that.
Yeah, it's just an idea I was throwing out because Jirachi's like the most versatile Pokemon on our team, definitely. So I was like, how could we like use that to potentially catch them off guard? But obviously, like the downside is if they either protect on the Sub-Zero Slammer or they switch out, then we kind of waste our Z move on Jirachi. But I think like I don't know. I was just thinking like if they do lead Scrafty Zygon, I know that's so specific, and you said you don't think they're gonna lead it. But I don't know. I felt like that was something I was worried enough where I was like, I don't see too many ways to actually beat that combination. So that's why the Jirachi idea came up.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they'll lead with Scrafty. But I mean, they could lead with Zygarde, but I mean, we could put like the thing is going with Raichu and Jirachi that Heatran is potentially an issue. I mean, a hidden power ground somewhere could do something, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. I was like, if we go HP ground, then HP ground and Thunderbolt definitely just knocks out the Heatran.
Yeah. So we're going to end up with a very weird Jirachi set here. Icy Wind,
Yeah, maybe.
ground.
But it seems like it could work.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like the thing I was thinking is Zapdos is like really good for them overall, but it sucks. Like they have to knock out our Raichu before the Zapdos can really make an appearance. So I was like, I don't really expect Zapdos to make a lead. Like I feel like they keep it in the back. And like the Finny as well. It's like I would imagine they'd want to conserve it more for the late game than the early game, just because like it doesn't do too much, and they know we've used Electro Z on Raichu before, so that's probably something they've got to be worried about as well. So I was thinking like they might lead with a combination of like Heatran, Scrafty, Bronzong, Zygarde, but I don't know. Like obviously those are still really solid Pokemon for them to lead with.
Yeah, I think Tapu Fini might make an appearance early on just to get the terrain up.
Yes.
But it might not stay around for too long.
Yes.
So I don't know. This Raichu Jirachi business doesn't sound too bad, but how would we? I mean, maybe like I was saying, maybe we won't. But how could we make it hard for them if they led with like a Bronzong and tried to do Trick Room things?
Yeah. So I think that's where like we might want to bring Azumarill and Nidoqueen because like under Trick Room we can actually sweep them because we'll still be like Scrafty will be the only thing that's kind of an issue, but Azumarill can just play rough. It might not knock out with the Intimidate, but like Bronzong at most can maybe Gyro Ball, right? And so shouldn't be able to do too much damage. And then if they actually do go with Heat Proof, then Nidoqueen can Earth Power it. If not, Volcarona can switch in relatively safely and threaten it. So I don't know. I feel like if we bring both Azumarill and Nidoqueen, Trick Room shouldn't actually be that difficult to go up against.
Yeah, okay, so if we made the Nidoqueen quiet then.
Mm-hmm.
Nidoqueen's base speed, is it 76?
That's right, I think. And it's lower than Heatran.
Heatran's 77, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite a funny one then.
Yeah.
So even if it is, the quiet eruption Heatran, then we can underspeed them.
Yeah, and then we get like Azumarill in terms of damage output here can do a lot, like a Waterfall against Heatran, play rough against Scrafty, Ice Punch for Zygarde and Zapdos, and then maybe knock off for Bronzong. So like it has ways to hit everything for super effective. Obviously the one issue is the Tapu Fini there. Like we can't do too much to it in terms of damage with Azumarill. But I don't know. I think I really like Azumarill, and I really like the Assault Vest idea you mentioned earlier too.
Yeah, Assault Vest on the Azumarill or on the Nidoqueen?
I'm thinking more of the Azumarill, mainly because like it means that Moonblast or like Finny does absolutely nothing against it. Heatran, we can switch into Eruption super easily. If they might be running, I don't know if we could actually survive Z Solar Beam. Probably not, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, but then like Zapdos Thunderbolt as well. Whereas like Nidoqueen, I feel like with the Life Orb, I don't know the calcs, but I would imagine with the Life Orb, like we could get a lot more damage off. But maybe it doesn't end up mattering because Ice Beam and Earth Power are 4 times effective against Heatran and Zygarde anyway.
I'm actually going to do the Z Solar Beam calculation because I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
So Z Solar Beam on Azumarill, Assault Vest, item, Assault Vest, there it is. Yeah, we can easily EV to survive that actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the AV on Azumarill then, I think.
Okay, yeah, and Life Orb on the Nidoqueen. Yeah, okay, so that's the Nidoqueen and Azumarill are actually a decent sort of block, a decent check to their Trick Room then. So I guess at this point we're thinking, okay, so we do want we do want these two. So
yes.
we'll pop these up here. And I think I'll pop these two up here as well, just because I do quite like this lead. Because I suppose the lead of Raichu and Jirachi really only comes apart against a Trick Room or a Heatran.
But if we run like HP Ground Jirachi
the hidden power
and
ground.
Thunderbolt,
yeah,
then I think we cover that option where it's like, oh, if they lead with it, then we can just threaten it with the knockout immediately. And if they don't lead with it, then I don't know. We've got a Zoomer on the back. The one thing I was worried about is like they could scarf the Heatran or the Zygarde. Like that's my concern. But I guess like since we do have fake out pressure on turn 1 as well, we could try to see which one of those is scarfed, if either.
Yes.
Like scarfing Heatran just doesn't seem like the best idea because we have got a Zoomer on Aerodactyl. But Zygarde with the scarf, I don't know, could be scary. That's something like I was considering. So if they do run that, then obviously having both Icy Wind or the Z move can just put in a lot of work against that.
Yeah,
which is why I wanted Raichu for fake out as well.
It's not a very sort of typically Wolf or typically Marcus sort of thing, really, is it, Scarfing?
Yeah,
and this is one of the things as well with like all of the other weeks playing all of these people that we don't sort of play very often. We can't really predict what they're going to do. We do know these guys. We've watched them play loads of games. We've played them ourselves. We know how they play, and it's just not a sort of thing that we'd expect from them. But obviously we can say maybe at the same time that's a reason why they might, but I don't think they will.
Right. But either way, I don't know. I feel like Raichu and Jirachi like puts on pressure from the get-go. We can do decent damage to anything, and we have safe switch-ins as well, which is why I wanted that combination.
So Raichu and Jirachi does seem okay then. And Azumarill and Nidoqueen does give us some protection for Trick Room. But the thing that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with here is that the 3 Pokemon, I'm just sort of putting Broxah shit aside now because we've picked Azumarill.
Yeah.
The 3 Pokemon that are left, Breloom, Volcarona, and Aerodactyl, I really like all 3 of them still.
Yes, I do as well, unfortunately.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, so I guess like we can make a case for each one, but so like Volcarona, it's like kind of booty against most of their team, but like they do have a Bronzong, and that's obviously like a huge concern where it merits bringing Volcarona because as of right now, like if they do run Levitate, then obviously Nidoqueen can't really do anything against it. Azumarill can maybe knock off it. Jirachi definitely can't do anything against it, and Raichu can maybe like Z move it, but like I feel like we might need Volcarona just because, like, if they bring Bronzong, otherwise, like, it just walls us completely.
Yeah, I mean, I do get that completely, but, I mean, it doesn't really do anything else against the rest of their team, does it?
Yeah, that's the main concern.
Yeah, unless we put Hidden Power Ground on it as well.
Which, honestly, could make sense, because it's like, I don't know what other moves you'd really use on it. Maybe Giga Drain, but, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Hidden Power Ground. I used Hidden Power Ground Volcarona at all the Nationals in 2013. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Getting them Heatrans.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, like, Heatran's also something I'm pretty worried about. So having, like, multiple with text for it is good just because I feel like they probably bring it. Even if they don't, it's better to be safe than sorry.
I mean, I suppose the thing with that is if we are picking Azumarill and Nidoqueen, we've already got 2 things that are actually pretty good. And the Hidden Power Ground as well. So maybe we don't need to worry so much about Heatran. I mean, the Bronzong is a worry, I guess. I don't know, like, we've not really been thinking about Tangela, but the Rage Power redirection could give us some problems. And if we're not sort of taking Aerodactyl, then that would really be, outside of like a Tauntaun Purloin, really be our only way of sort of stopping the redirection too. So maybe we do need to give a bit of respect to Rage Powder and Dragon Dance sort of thing.
Yep, I agree.
And I guess, I suppose Volcarona would help against the Tangela as well if they did bring it.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can definitely see a case for Volcarona, but maybe not Quiver Dance. Maybe Rage Powder ourselves.
Well, I like that. That's a cool idea. Yeah, that's something I was thinking about too. It's like with Quiver Dance, I don't know. You can still threaten with a lot of big damage off at once. Like right now, my other concern is I don't know. We don't have like too much consistent damage output. We have like tech things specifically for specific Pokemon, but I do think I like the Rage Powder idea.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, Raichu, Azumarill, Nidoqueen, Jirachi, these aren't really sort of big hitters, really. But I don't know. And another thing, really, is that we don't want to sort of get sucked into like playing their game sort of thing as well, which is sort of how I feel like we're going now. Like we're not thinking about setting up and sort of sweeping through their team. We're sort of getting drawn into sort of their way of playing now, which I do want to be mindful of because our team isn't built for playing it that way.
Right.
So it would be nice maybe to have one option to set up something, just because it would force their Tapu Fini to come out and have haze and all that sort of thing. But I mean, outside of what Quiver Dance on Volcarona, I do think we want the Assault Vest on the Azumarill, so no belly drum there. I mean, outside of the Z, Happy Days, whatever on Jirachi, and Raichu gets Hold Hands or whatever it's called as well, I think. Outside of those two, or maybe Hone Claws or Swords Dance on Aerodactyl or Brilliant, there's not really any other way of setting up.
Yeah, I definitely I like belly drum would be so tempting here, but they're definitely gonna prepare like multiple ways for that to beat that. Yeah. So like that's why I'm really not keen on the Azumarill. Setup definitely could work on Heatran, on Volcarona more, I think, but I don't know. Like the Finny is still scary, so it's like if we do go setup, I guess like we'd go Quiver Dance, Protect, Fire type attack, and then what would be the fourth one? Because it's like. Oh, HP Ice would be nice for the Zygarde, but then HP Ground would be nice for the Heatran, but then Giga Drain would be nice for the Tapu Fini. So it's like, I don't know which one of those we'd want.
Yeah, and I suppose that would depend on if we were going to take Aerodactyl or Breloom or not, because if we do have Breloom, then I'm sort of okay with having maybe Hidden Power Ground or Ice, because we've got a way of hitting the Tapu Fini again, but otherwise, maybe not. I mean, this is difficult because all three of these, but I would actually miss all of that. I think we've brought all these, the three of these to all of our games so far as well. So it was the first time we did bring one. I mean, do we? I suppose one thing that I'm thinking is so we've got Azumarill, we've got Nidoqueen here. If they do get Trick Room, they might not go Trick Room, and
they could go Tailwind easily as well.
And if they do, how is Nidoqueen really going to help us too much there? Because it can take maybe one hit and hit one thing back, but the problem I've always got with Nidoqueen is it's just so one dimensional. It just doesn't do anything. It just gets hit and hits back, and that's that. It's just nice coverage, I suppose.
Yeah.
Whereas all three of these Pokemon that we're sort of deliberating on now can do something that sort of supports the team in some way. We've got like Skydrop and Tailwind and Taunt on Aerodactyl. We've got maybe Rage Powder on Volcarona. Maybe Spore. Maybe something else on Breloom. But I mean, really, we were saying earlier, Breloom actually doesn't really do too much here. It's just that they have got... Actually, they've got a few things that Breloom can hit quite hard. Like Mach Punch does hit the Scrafty and the Heatran, and Bullet Seed for the Tapu Fini as well. But we haven't put a Scarf on anything yet, have we?
No.
Scarf really wouldn't do anything in this, would it? Because they can't really one-shot anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like normally Scarf Breloom you can cheese with a Spore or get a one-shot, but like we don't even really threaten anything, especially if they have Intimidate Pressure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't get Ice Punch or anything. Yeah. I mean, just thinking of options for Breloom. Like Poison Heal, Substitute, Leech Seed wouldn't get us too far, I don't think.
That's interesting.
I mean, they wouldn't expect it, would they?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching Mike, a Mega Donut, back in 13, doing some games with the Poison Heal Breloom, and it was actually quite nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe not in this game, but. I mean, I don't know. Just things like that could catch them off guard, but I mean, it's not something that would blow them back, really, is it? It's something that
it's like a cool idea, but because it doesn't like threaten anything with the knockout.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like pretty adaptable to play against.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But you are right. Yeah, it's really tough because you could make a case for all three of these, and like we want all three of these like a fair amount. But it seems like the four we've picked already are very solid as well.
Yeah.
Hmm. Like my instinct is like, oh yeah, Breloom we could drop, just because like even if we don't have it, we still have pretty solid answers. And then like I do want Tailwind with Aerodactyl because I feel like if we don't have a way to match their Tailwind, kind of like last week where they couldn't match our Tailwind, then we're just screwed.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if we did lead with Raichu and Jirachi, we can't really stop them getting their own Tailwind up if they led with their Zapdos.
Yeah, so the idea I think is if they do lead Zapdos, we can fake out the Zapdos, and then if we had Aerodactyl, switch out into Aerodactyl.
Yeah, and then the problem would be if they led with Zapdos and Finny, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we'd be coming in on probably a muddy water.
Yeah. I don't know though. I'd be kind of surprised if they led Zapdos Finny, but maybe they like expect us to, because it's like we've led I don't know Aerodactyl a fair amount of times, so I was thinking like they might want to counter that.
To be honest, I think Zapdos and Finny are two of the Pokemon that I do expect them to lead with.
Okay.
So I don't know, like I mean,
because it's just like the obvious, like we could so easily go Raichu Aerodactyl, and that just like completely counters that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing I was originally also thinking Raichu Aerodactyl since like it's a pretty consistent and safe lead. But then the fear is like, I don't know, we wouldn't be able to do too much to Zygarde unless we had like Hidden Power Ice and Ice Fang on both of those, because otherwise Zygarde can just Thousand Arrows us.
Yeah.
And that hits the Aerodactyl as well.
Yeah.
Although I suppose we could have Wild Guard on Aerodactyl. It gets that, right?
It does get Wide Guard, yeah, but we kind of want Aerodactyl to be doing the offense, really, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, one thing to note with Thousand Arrows is if it hits something that's flying, it's just, I'm pretty sure it works like this anyway, it's just a neutral hit on the first hit. So if it hit our Aerodactyl with the 1,000 arrows, that wouldn't be super effective until the second time it hits us. So,
okay.
So we definitely can take at least 1,000 arrows from that Zygarde.
Yeah, that's good to know.
But yeah, I mean, Raichu and Jirachi, Raichu, Aerodactyl. I mean, the thing with Raichu and Aerodactyl is it's just so susceptible to just a Scrafty coming in and intimidating, and so Ice Fang would do even less, and all the rest of it. One thing that I did like about the Icy Wind Sub-Zero Slammer is that they would possibly assume that our Jirachi is physical and feel they are not really threatened. I mean, they might scout out for an Ice Punch. That is the only sort of worry, I guess, that they would protect on it. But they'd still take, 25-30% from it too. So
yeah.
And then we could follow it up with an Icy Wind too. But I don't know. It's an interesting one. This.
Yep.
Just because I don't know, I am a little bit worried about them getting a Tailwind up though. I mean, it feels like the past few weeks we've just sort of thought, we've looked at our opponent's team and we're like, look, right, that learns Tailwind, we need to match Tailwinds, we need to lead with Aerodactyl, the end. And we kind of haven't done that this time, but now I'm thinking maybe we do need to, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, Volcarona gets Tailwind, right?
It does, yeah.
Okay, but I think, like, we definitely need Tailwind, and Aerodactyl is the obvious answer. I mean, like, Tailwind Volt could maybe work as well, but maybe we do need to bring Aerodactyl just to potentially match their Tailwind.
I mean, maybe a Thunderbolt and Sub-Zero Slammer, if we wanted to use it on the Zapdos, would knock that out straight away before it gets its Tailwind up too.
Oh, that's a good point. But they could have the special defense boost from the Misty Seed.
Ah, yeah, that is very, very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was thinking is, how can we use their team against us? We could put a Misty Seed on our Azumarill, maybe, instead of an Assault Vest.
That is interesting.
Because then at least we would have the option of Protect, but it does rely on them bringing their Tappy at some point.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to bring their Scratchy, so we could put Adrenaline Orb on something, but again, is there really anything that would want? And like we're pretty much faster anyway, so
yeah,
not really any need. But it's just things like that could sort of catch their
give us
game
the
plan off.
Yeah. Right. I guess we're still back to the debate on which two of these three we want to bring.
Yeah, really. Unless we dropped Nidoqueen.
That could work. What if we do drop Nidoqueen? Like, let's see.
We would be a bit more susceptible to Trick Room, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be the problem. But, I mean, who knows what they'll... I mean, they could go Z Trick Room with Hypnosis on Bronzong. And,
yeah.
you know, both of them are just going to get put to sleep either way, so...
Yeah.
I
could see us dropping Nidoqueen, like... I don't know. It's just, like, tempting to bring just because it one-shots Heatran and Zygarde, and those are such big offensive threats. And a Sledge Bomb for Finny as well.
Yeah, it does have such good coverage, and it's not affected by Intimidate either.
Exactly.
So it is like really tempting. Actually, I'm gonna look at Sludge Bomb on Eviolite Tangela, just because if it does get the one shot, I would actually be really tempted with that. So Nidoqueen, Modest Life Orb. Sludge. Nope, that's Sludge Bomb. 2.9 to 4.7%. No, that's not right. That's a level 10 Nidoqueen. Right. Yeah. Wow. Sludge Bomb. Is that right? It just destroys it. Yeah. Minimum 136%.
Even with Eviolite?
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah. Without it, it's minimum 203%. Apparently.
And that's level 100 Tangela against level 100 Nidoqueen?
Yeah, I'm skeptical about it too. Yeah, they're both level 100.
Huh.
Oh no, I knew there was something wrong with it. That was a Z move Sludge Bomb.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so absolute max special defense, Eviolite Tangela, Sludge Bomb does 92 to 108%. So that's a 50-50 roll.
That's pretty tempting, honestly.
Which is actually nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, okay, how about we just sort of forget about what we've been talking about for the past 40 minutes. What if we went with our own Trick Room with Bruxish, with Nidoqueen in Trick Room?
Huh.
Like put Iron Ball on something.
That could work.
I mean, that's a really wacky idea, but just looking at how good potentially Nidoqueen could be in Trick Room against their team.
Huh.
And then swap the Azumarill for the Bruxish and, put the Bulky with Trick Room and...
Oof, now that's tempting.
It is tempting, but is it too far out of our comfort zone to really contemplate?
Right. Like, the other question is, then we need better answers against Crafty.
True, yeah. I mean, I suppose we could. I mean, Azumarill would work in Trick Room as well. We could take both.
That is true, yeah. This is crazy, but I don't know. It's kind of tempting.
Like, it's one of them things that you feel like might work, but then if they do have, like, Hypnosis on their Bronzong, then we've just given them the game, really, so.
Yeah. It's like, I really want to, because it's like, oh, we haven't used this at all, and it would be so cool, but it's also, like, so far beyond anything to use, and I'm not, like, comfortable enough where it's like, oh, yeah, this definitely works.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I wouldn't, like, it sounds like a good idea, but I would not be comfortable going into a game with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because we would be able to get Trick Room up, and we can protect from, with the Lightning Rod. We can, like, they're not going to taunt our Bruxish, are they? They're not going to expect we go with Trick Room at all.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Like, if they didn't have the Bronzong, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, if they didn't, that would actually be a real, like, I feel a lot more comfortable with that idea, but it's like the combination of Bronzong and Tangela still for Rage Powder support, and Scrafty for Fake Out is scary.
Yeah, I mean, Bruxish does get Crunch. We can put, like, the Dark Z move on it, and that might one-shot Bronzong.
Huh, that is true.
And if they do bring Finny out, then they're not going to be Hypnosising us.
Also true, yeah. I don't know, Baz. It's honestly a really good idea.
So this is the part of the video, again, where I try and get Ira to do silly things.
Okay, well, let's entertain the Trick Room idea just for a little bit. How would we want to lead, then?
Raichu with Eject button and Bruxish.
That's interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah, my like one concern is if we don't get Raichu out of there, then we just set up Trick Room, and then now Raichu's going to be slower than their entire team. Like on turn 2.
True. But I don't know. Like we could put Sub-Zero Slammer on Bruxish with Ice Fang.
That is true.
And then Assault Vest still on the Azumarill would be a fairly easy switch in.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think like where this could go like terribly wrong.
Yeah, this feels dangerous. Like we're actually considering this now.
Because if there are like any group of players that can like stall out Trick Room and make good switches, it's definitely their team.
Yeah. I don't think we want to rely on Trick Room too much. So we could, have Volcarona and Aerodactyl in the back, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like maybe like I could have a proper sit down and think about it properly and sort of try and think it over. Because I've only just sort of thought about this sort of idea.
Yeah, like that literally, I never even, like, it didn't come across my mind that Trick Room was even an option, but now, like, you put it in my mind, so it's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah. Well, okay, how about we, just for the sake of this video, we will try and think of our game plan going forward with Raichu and Jirachi, because I do think those are a pretty good lead with Azumarill and 3 of the other 4, but we'll sort of, we've got overnight and tomorrow to sort of think about it as well. We could, maybe shake it up for the video and go Trick Room if we really wanted, but just for the sake of this, we will go with our I suppose serious proper plan and just sort of think about Trick Room as a side option in our spare time tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess really the question is that we're really debating on is which 3 out of these 4 just here. And like Nidoqueen, the more I think about it, the more I think actually it is really good against their team, but it just needs supporting. So I don't know, supporting with what? Regigigas with Wide Guard? We've already disregarded Regigigas now. I mean, I suppose Aerodactyl can Wide Guard too, but
I feel like I do want Aerodactyl just out of the threat that they could Tailwind. Like, I'm still worried that if we don't bring it and they set up Tailwind, we don't really have answers against that. So I'm inclined to say like we kind of need Aerodactyl as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Aerodactyl because it is something that can actually hit Scrafty for a decent amount of damage as well.
Yeah.
As I suppose Breloom is as well. But, like, Volcarona doesn't really do anything against them, apart from their Tangela and Bronzong. But, I mean, like I was saying, if we don't bring the Volcarona, then those 2 could really be problems for us.
Right. I feel like we could just say Aerodactyl and Volcarona and, like, call it a day in the sense that we have pretty good answers against everything. Like, Breloom is just tempting to me because it's like Bullet Seed probably does a decent amount to the Zygarde and to Lafini, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say like I'm leaning more towards Aerodactyl and Volcarona just because we know we probably won't be able to Spore in this game.
Yeah. I'm gonna look
and like that's like the main reason why I like bringing Breloom in all the matches, and like this week, that's like a pretty big reason against it.
Bullet Seed, 5 hits from let's go Adamant, why not? Adamant Breloom does maximum 82% to 252 HP Zygarde.
Oh wow.
Which is a decent chunk actually. 2 hits does just under a third.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like right now I'm sold more on Aerodactyl and Volcarona just because it feels like if we don't bring those, there could be very key, like they could just exploit us really heavily. Whereas with the 6, if we do have Aerodactyl, Volcarona, and the 4 that we have above, like we at least have an answer against any potential strategy they could bring against us. Whereas Breloom is more like a comfort pick / get some good damage off against certain things. But I don't know. I feel like we've got multiple ways to hit the Finny and the Zygarde anyway. And like, I don't know, we'd be Mach Punch or maybe Superpowering Heatran and Scrafty, but we also have like Azumarill and Nidoqueen for those.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a comfort pick just because it is such a, like it normally always does something in a game. but just because that it's just a misty terrain, it's just not gonna do too well for it. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm scared of the Scrafty, but the Intimidate will quickly whittle it down. I mean, the same can be said for Aerodactyl, to be honest, as well, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm inclined to just say Aerodactyl Volcarona.
Well, let's just go with this then for a moment. Then, so let's go with Raichu and Jirachi, Volcarona and Aerodactyl, and we'll put these on opposite sides.
Yes.
Volcarona, Aerodactyl. Should these be swapped? Or not? I think we want Raichu and Azuma on opposite sides, just to throw that old chestnut out there.
Yep.
But we'll leave it like this for now, and let's just run through a couple of scenarios then, just so we're sort of a little bit more mentally prepared for it then.
Yeah.
So let's say they lead with Tapu Fini and Zapdos. We've got these two. What do we do? They probably, they're bound to want to try and protect the Fini, surely, because they know that we have used Z moves on Raichu. So maybe we can double into the Zapdos. But then, yeah, there's the Misty Terrain boost. And I'm going to do that calculation, actually.
Yeah.
So Raichu on Zapdos. Well, I'll just calculate 252 Zapdos, just for the sake of it. Level 100 again. Yep. So a +1 special defense. Thunderbolt does 22 to 28.
Woo!
As a Z move, 42 to 50.
Okay.
Okay, so that's quite disappointing. So
yep.
Remember 22 minimum and 42 minimum.
Yep.
And Jirachi, level 100. Icy Wind. Sub-Zero Slammer does quite disappointing 35 to 41.
Okay.
So a combination of those attacks will not knock out their Zapdos.
Yeah. I mean, we could fake out, use an attack from Jirachi, and then the next turn double up into it again, but it's committing a lot of resources.
Yeah, and
I think the alternative is maybe just fake out and switch Jirachi out into Aerodactyl. If you think the Fini is protecting, which they probably, knowing the players that they'd be inclined to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know actually they might have had Scarf Fini, or maybe it wasn't Scarf. Maybe it was just faster than Zapdos. But I know they had that cool soak strategy going on.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, it wasn't Scarfed. It was just a point faster.
Oh, okay.
To be used in.
Yeah, so I was thinking more maybe just switching to Aerodactyl, so we pressure on Tailwind, and then now it's Raichu and Aerodactyl against Zapdos Fini. That's probably more in our favor.
Yeah. Okay. So we feel somewhat comfortable if they led like this. And what if they led with Heatran and Fini then?
Well, if we are running HP ground on the Jirachi, I feel like if I'm them, maybe I'd double protect turn one. So we could maybe capitalize off this, because they're definitely the players that like to protect by running Encore on Raichu.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A Muddy Water shouldn't do too much to either of us. We could just Hidden Power Ground and Thunderbolt.
Hidden Power Ground on Heatran does 54 to 64.
From Jirachi?
Yeah, from Jirachi.
Oh, wow. It's less than I thought.
That's not much, is it?
Yeah. How much does Thunderbolt do?
From Raichu?
Yes.
Let's have a look. It does 28 to 33.
And what if we went modest with Jirachi instead of timid?
Let's have a look. Just a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
Hidden Power Ground. I've done something wrong. Oh, there we go. 59 to 70.
Oh, yeah, that's really not much more. I mean, then it's we could fake out Hidden Power Ground, so then the next turn we pressure with but then all they have to do is protect. But then if we have Encore on Raichu, then maybe that solves it.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
suppose
thinking like the question right now is also like what set we want on the Raichu, because like I was thinking Fake Out, Thunderbolt, obviously, but then we could run like Encore, Hidden Power, potentially either Ice or Ground, and then what else? I mean, Protect maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, there's not really too like Nuzzle is useless. We can't fling because we've got the
Yep.
set move. Hidden Power Ice really does seem to be the only other viable option, just so we can hit the Zygarde. I mean, I suppose we can feint. Like, no need for Grass Knot in this one.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely like I'd probably want Fake Out, Thunderbolt, Encore, and then a Hidden Power, whether it be Ice or Ground. Probably Ground, maybe.
Oh, a Hidden Power Ground could be interesting.
Because then we could like double HP Ground Heatran.
Yeah, so let's just say we're timid then with Jirachi. Hidden Power Ground is minimum 54.
Yep.
From Raichu, Hidden Power Ground. Drum roll.
Minimum more, right?
Minimum 50.
Right, or yeah, just around the same. So we could double Hidden Power Ground.
We could, yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like there's not much more that's better on Raichu since like the Jirachi covers the Zygarde anyway, so it's not like we need HP Ice.
Yeah. Okay, so if we, I mean, we're sort of teching our Pokemon quite interestingly, but like it could work. So
could fail miserably, but even if it does, at least we tried and we had fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? So Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ground, Fake Out, Encore on Raichu. Zed, Icy Wind, Hidden Power Ground on Jirachi and Protect, and I guess Flash Cannon maybe, or Psychic, I suppose.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Dazzling Gleam.
Or maybe maybe Dazzling Gleam.
Because that does still over like 50% to 252 Scrafty, so it's like we could pressure a free switch. Like if they switch in and we predict the switch in, Dazzling Gleam just instantly chunks off half.
I'm guessing a Zed Twinkle Tackle from Dazzling Gleam doesn't get Zygarde then.
It might actually.
I mean, I suppose Sub-Zero Slammer is nice for the Zapdos as well, though.
Yes. It's like close, but I think it's a little bit weaker.
Yeah, and actually Sub-Zero Slammer is nice for the Tangela too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually liking this. Hidden Power Ground, double Hidden Power Ground lead.
Yeah, like this is the weirdest Jirachi set we've come up with yet, but I feel like it could actually put in a lot of work. All we needed to do is like use it to cheese the Heatran or the Zygarde, and then we're good.
So very briefly, then, what if they led with Heatran and
Zapdos? Good question. That's such a peculiar lead for them. I mean,
fake out the Heatran, switch in Zapdos, switch in Aerodactyl.
Aerodactyl, yeah, that's like what I'm thinking of.
It's just then they can Tailwind and threaten us with Flash Cannon the next turn.
Right. Could also fake out Zapdos and switch out into Aerodactyl to deny Tailwind, but then Heatran could get an attack off.
Yeah, it probably would get a Heat Wave or something there, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That one's not too ideal.
Yeah. Because I think if they lead with Zygarde, okay, we've got Sub-Zero Slammer. If they do lead with Scrafty, then great, they've burnt their initial Intimidate. We've got the faster Fake Out. So I don't think either of these are a problem. We've gone through all the most likely combinations, I think, with Finny. There's only really Bronzong that we haven't thought about. It's just these two, maybe, Heatran and Zapdos, that could cause some problems. I suppose...
I would just be... I do want to point out, I'd be shocked because, I think they have to prepare, assuming we lead Raichu Azumarill as the worst-case scenario. And if they lead Zapdos Heatran, I don't know what they do against Raichu Azumarill because we just fake out Heatran and Belly Drum. And obviously, we're not going for Belly Drum in here, but, that just seems like they're so far behind if they allow it. They'd have to be assuming there's no way they lead Raichu Azumarill. And I feel I don't know, that does seem like a really potent lead against this. I'd be pretty surprised to see Heatran and Zapdos.
That does make sense what you say, but I think they could just have, they will have Haze on their Finny. They might think Finny is bulky enough to just come in and take an Aqua Jet and Haze away, but I mean that is they definitely have to respect the possibility that we can Belly Drum on them. So
yeah. That one's tricky, I guess, because, I don't know, I'd probably want to just fake out Zapdos and switch into Aerodactyl still. Does a Flash Cannon knock out the Aerodactyl?
If I'll have a look. I'm inclined to say yes.
Okay.
But I will calculate it. Flash cannon, yeah, minimum 100%.
Jeez.
If they are 252 plus, that is.
I
mean, we could double hidden power ground into the Heatran, but then that gives them a free switch in and a tailwind, which is very bad. We could double into the Zapdos because they wouldn't unless they switched in their Finny, which they probably wouldn't if they've got Heatran in there. Then we could double into the Zapdos and knock it out, perhaps. But
that's
that
a
is
good
at
point.
the cost. That is at the cost of like a Heat Wave too, so we could lose, one of our Pokemon there too, or if not both of them.
I mean, I feel like if that's the lead positioning, like we don't have a safe play, but we do have plays. It's just like we have to call what they're gonna do with the Heatran pretty much.
Yeah.
Because it's like if we think they're not gonna Flash Cannon, and that is really risky of them to Flash Cannon like a Jirachi turn 1. They could easily switch into Aerodactyl.
Well, it's not that, but I mean, like if we didn't fake out the Zapdos, they could get Tailwind up and then, Flash Cannon the Aerodactyl.
Right, but what I was thinking was like we fake out Zapdos and switch into Aerodactyl, and so it's like that's a call on whether they're gonna actually Flash Cannon a Jirachi or whether they just Heat Wave.
Okay, yeah, and then I suppose if they did Heat Wave, I don't think a Heat Wave would knock Raichu out, but if it did, we'd get a switch into the Nidoqueen there.
Yeah, I don't think it should.
So if we are gonna sort of think, I mean, we'll be going over an hour now, so we will wrap this up in a moment. Bear with us, guys.
Yeah.
But, if we are going with Tailwind on Aerodactyl as well, which we do need to, do we want minimum speed on Nidoqueen, because that is nice if they do Trick Room, or do we want some speed in there to maybe abuse a Tailwind of our own?
I was thinking, like, let's say we were min speed, could we still outspeed their stuff? Like, I don't know what that is really like, but let's say we get Tailwind up and they don't. Does our Nidoqueen still outspeed like max speed Heatran, Zygarde, Zapdos, etc.?
That's a good question. I'll have a look. So let's go quiet, 0 IVs. So Nidoqueen would have a base, would have a speed stat of 141. So that'd be 282, and that would be that's actually faster than Timid Heatran.
Okay.
That works. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like literally just faster than max speed Heatran.
So we'd still be slower than Zygarde, like that's the one concern. But I don't know. I kind of like the quiet idea just for their Trick Room option.
Yeah, I mean, because we would be minimum speed, we'd have plenty of bulk to take, like, at least one.
Yes.
Maybe even a +1 1,000 arrows too.
Exactly.
So, all right, well, guys, we have been going for over an hour, but I don't think you get any.
Oh, and that's my phone. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I don't think any of the guys do their team builders quite so in depth as we do. So I hope you have enjoyed this hour of deliberating over what we're going to be doing. So tomorrow the battle will be on Cybertron's channel. This is, I guess, what we're going to be going with as it stands at the moment. We will have a think about the Trick Room, but it is just a bit of a sort of very left field option that we could consider. But we'll consider it. But as it stands, we'll be going in with this. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from me. Goodbye from Aaron.
See ya.
And we'll see you tomorrow.